Alrighty, good evening everybody, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to Race Spec's Global Series. We're here for Tier 1 for the Singapore Grand Prix, one of the only few night races on the circuit calendar. So it's always an interesting one seeing the cars under the bright lights. So yeah, a bit of a change of scenery compared to what we normally see in the Formula 1 scene. I'm Bod Hod, I'll be your commentator this evening. This will be a long one. Singapore pretty much is the longest race on the calendar due to its length, distance and relative slow speed compared to other tracks on the calendar. So we're going to be in for a long night, particularly if it rains, but we'll be looking forward to it definitely. Usually throws up some pretty interesting racing. Very, very challenging street circuit. You can see the walls in very close proximity, and you have to get as close as you can to them to get the lap time out of the car. So it's going to be a long, difficult race for these drivers, but I'm sure they're well and truly up for the task. As most of these guys are on their very long outlap, critical to not use too much of your tyres, because the softs, although really, really quick compared to those medium tyres, will not last long. So you want to try and minimise the life you take out of them on your hot lap preparation as you come out of the pits, and then you'd ideally not want to do any more than one hot lap on them. So we should see these guys try and push the pace a bit on their hot lap to get the most out of those softer tyres, if that's indeed what they do want to qualify on. Although the medium tyre is definitely the best race tyre, but well over a second slower per lap. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys end up qualifying on, but it looks like most of them are putting on the soft tyre. If you guys are going to go on mediums, possibly saving a set of softs for the end of the race, if there is a late safety car or something like that, which can be quite an advantage actually, having that extra set of softs, because it'll make a lot of difference if we do get into that situation of a late safety car. But we're right on board with Banana as he starts his lap in the Renault. I think they're currently leading the Constructors' Championship at this new global tier after the merger between the two tiers. I think this is round, I think the fourth round of this, possibly fifth though. I might have to go and check that quickly. I have mislabeled the stream, so I'll pick that up as well. But yeah, through the first couple of corners onto the straight, this is the longest straight on the track. It's not that long at all. Probably the most likely overtaking zone for DRS as well. Can't run wide over that curb there, that would be an instant validation. Tight technical section here, you want to carry as much mid-corner speed through here as you can, try and get on the throttle as soon as you can. See Banana does quite well there, possibly could use a little bit more of the exit, but on your first lap it's definitely okay to take your time. Now probably the most technical section of the track, misses that right-hand apex slightly. You can cut a little bit of that, but not too much. We're now into the hairpin, which could be another overtaking spot if you are brave. Onto power quickly, new DRS zone for this year, but probably unlikely to really see many moves into here as the straight is really small. Now into sector 3, lots and lots of these third, fourth gear kind of 90-degree chicanes to right, left. Try and you can take a lot of that inside curve there. Actually Banana doesn't do that this time. Now into here, turn 18, you see a lot of people bin it into that wall usually, so we'll see if these guys can keep their noses clean. Not the chicane right, left this time. Second last section of the track. See Banana gets a bit loose there, has to back off the throttle into the last corner, but he's not going to take it, he's going to pull into the pits. So not happy with that lap is Banana. We're good to get a gauge of the track there. We'll see if we can find someone who is on a lap. Looks like perhaps a racing point there for Tuka on the medium tyres. He's got curving Texas just in front of him. So maybe a bit of traffic play here, but both of them are allowed to be on their laps at the same time. Tuka, probably a championship contender in this tier. He'll go P2 on the medium, so that's actually a really strong time, a 35.5. As Viper is quickest at the moment with a 34.8, so 7 tenths clear the rest of the field at the moment. There's a long way still to go. But there is a Williams, I think he's just getting out of the way actually, so not too worry about that. I think I can see the Haas there, and another racing point. So we'll flip over there. So MVP's just, no, he's not on a lap. Schumacher looks like he's on a lap, just coming towards the end, so we'll stay with the McLaren man. I saw McLaren tonight, flying the orange flag for the British boys. Hits the last corner quite nice. You don't want to run out wide there because it really sucks to invalidate your lap at the last corner after such a long strenuous lap. Goes P3 on mediums as well, so a couple of good times coming in early on those mediums. You should see those times drop a fair bit if they do put on the softs at the end of the session. So it'll be interesting to see how much they can improve. You've got F. Leon in P2 as well, a driver I don't recognise. I think he's a new driver to this tier. So let's see what he can do in the Haas. Teammate Lunacy, who's quite a strong driver. We'll have to see what they can do together. So Lunacy's just starting his lap. See if we can find someone who's on a lap though. Stingray, he's not in ERS hot lap, so he may not be on a lap, but we'll stay with him anyway in the Mercedes. I don't think he's really pushing, but taking these apexes quite nicely actually is Stingray. We should see him fairly towards the front as well. He actually invalidates that lap, cut the corner. He's probably going to pull into the pits. Yeah, he does. Who have we got finishing lap? Is Will on the lap? Looks like Will might be on the lap as well in the Alfa Romeo. Teammate to Holderman Dan. Neither of them have set times yet, so we should see them do so soon. So Will a bit deep into there, cuts that corner slightly, and that is an invalidation. So that sucks for him there. Far from ideal, but very easy to do. So he'll have to come back around and do another lap. That looks like Mercedes. No, it's not Mercedes. I think it's a Williams. No, it is a Mercedes. No, he's on an out lap. So we'll keep an eye on Ned as well. He should be quite quick. One of the stronger guys in this tier. But we'll jump back on board with Lunacy, who's actually gone purple so far. He's on medium tyres. So we might see this time in the top couple of guys. Lunacy, proven speedy driver, so we have to see what he can do at the end of this lap, hold it together, takes them quite nice. He doesn't quite push it as much as you might see a couple of other guys do, but you want to hold together the lap, especially it being your first lap. Last corner quite nicely, it will be a 36.8, it's good enough for P5 on the mediums, so that's good there for Lunacy. If you can stay in that top 10, you might not even worry about setting the soft time. The softs are only going to last 4, 5, 6 laps at the start of the race, so good job there for Lunacy to get himself up in the top 5 on those tyres. Looks like Ned might be on a lap as well, so we'll ride with the Mercedes. Quite a strong team here, Ned and Prying Stingray. I think they'd be challenging for the championship. We'll check that in a moment, what the championship standings look like. Possibly between qualifying and the race, we'll have a quick look. But yeah, Mercedes is a very strong pairing here. As you see, we'll run a bit wide there, but that's okay. You want to maximise the track width because there's not much to play with. Ned gets leading quite nicely, and on the power nice and early, open DRS. It's easy to forget about that with it being new. Takes that fairly nice. Purple to the second sector actually, so I wonder if this can threaten the top 2 or 3 guys. Wilbur does a P5 lap on mediums as well, so a couple of guys looking pretty pacey in mediums, which is good to see. We like to see a bit of variance in the strategy. Makes things interesting. But we're right on board here. The last couple of corners, take it nice and tight, not running too close to the wall, and almost flat. Shifts down a bit there to take the last corner. He'll come across the line in P5, 36.4 on the medium, so another good lap there on the medium tyres. We might see him jump on some softs and possibly threaten for pole, but we'll have to see what he chooses to do. Looks like he's holding it down a lap. Here's the Alfa Romeo on the soft tyres, so 3 guys still haven't set laps, Banana, Stingray, and then Holderman Dan here, so we'll have to see what those guys can do. So Holderman Dan coming around the final couple of corners, runs a little bit wide, always a little loose at the back end actually. He'll put himself in P6, just ahead of his teammate, but on the soft tyres, so good there for Holderman Dan, but if he does want to start on those softs, you're really going to want to start in the front 2 rows. Any further back from that, and it's probably not really worth it. So we'll have to see what he can do in terms of an improvement. Kurt Boyd's just starting his lap, so we might flick to him towards the end of the lap, as there are I'm sure plenty of other guys on laps closer to the end. Tuka coming through the second sector now, he's slightly down this time. Actually Vipo is coming through the middle sector, so we'll ride with him. This could be an improvement on his time, currently sitting in P1 with a 34.8, 4 tenths clear of Leon. So he's done quite well with himself. We've got a bit of a glitch there where his name is coming up on the bottom. Having to split a couple of cars there, but they get out of the way well enough. Possibly a slight distraction, but nothing too bad. I'll just go put a link for these guys in the chat, so we can get a couple more viewers in the stream. Just give me 2 secs. There we go. Alright, all good now. Bike bails out with Bella's lap. I didn't quite see where that happened there. Now I'm just worrying about a couple of things in the chat. We'll ride back on board with Patuka though. He comes across the line. I'm not sure if he improves or not, but he stays P3. Didn't quite catch that on the timing screens there. So he's still in P3. 6 minutes left in the session, 6.5, so plenty of time to do some stuff with yourself. So Will's gone a bit deep there, so he picked up some damage perhaps. I'm not sure if just getting out of the way. No, his front wing looks intact, so possibly just trying to dodge some people. The Williams there, I think it's Candy Cane. Oh, so he's spun out of the final corner and he's in the fence, and that's not what you want to do to start your lap. He's going to have to do the whole lap now to get back to the pits with damage. So not ideal there. Obviously just trying to push the curb, trying to push the track limits as much as you can to gain the speed, but not ideal there for Candy Cane. He's going to have to scamper back to the pits actually. There's such a long lap, you have to take into account an almost a 2-minute long out lap. So he's going to have to hurry in a little bit if he wants to get back to the pits and get another lap on the board. 37.7, I'm sure he can improve on that. Speaking of improving, I was just going to say Banana needs to improve, and he just has 36.2 on mediums. So a lot of these guys are actually looking to qualify on medium tyres. Maybe that was Banana's play at the start there, just to try and coax a few people out of the pits on softs. And then put on the mediums, because they are obviously the best race tyre. The softs don't last. The hards are a little bit slow, although in saying that, the hards actually are pretty decent. You wouldn't think so, being colder temperatures, being nighttime and stuff, but the hards are actually a half decent race tyre, but the mediums are the best. So I think a medium to hard will be the way to go. If you qualify on soft, so you're probably going to have to do a soft, medium. A soft hard to be a major stretch. But yeah, lots of these guys are obviously thinking of going on to the mediums. As Patuka's already retired from the session, I'm not sure why. It's very early on, and he's not done it on track, so a little bit puzzling. Obviously he's got a reason for it though. There's a Mercedes. Stingray's popped himself up to P2 as well there. So on the mediums too, we'll put the best laps on. Yeah, so Viper and Leon P1 and 4, their best laps are on softs, but Viper's put some mediums on, so I think Viper might try and improve on his soft time, which is going to be tough. He's going to have to put together a really good lap in order to do that. So let's see what he can do. I reckon he's capable of it, but it's going to be a tough ask regardless. Kobe and Stingray both on in-laps. So who is on a lap? Banana's on an in-lap. I don't think anyone's on a hot lap at the moment, so we'll ride with... who's going to be the first guy to start his lap? I think it might be Ned. Yes, I think Ned will be the first one to start his lap. It'll probably be his last attempt actually. So he's gone on to the same set of mediums, I think actually. So he's going to have slightly older tyres, but I think it's probably worth it if you can improve. The softs aren't that great at all, really. So top 10 on mediums would be really great for a lot of these guys. Set themselves a task to improve. Looks like we've got, I think it's Holtman, Dan and Viper just behind on outlaps too, so we'll have to keep an eye on those times. I'm sure they're going to look to improve. Viper will be an interesting one, having set his best lap on softs. So let's see what he can do. Currently sitting P1, I'm sure he'd rather be on those medium tyres though. But as these guys just preparing for their final lap, possibly second last lap, don't want to push the tyres. Ned flooring it out of the second last corner, the fast corner, almost flat. Maybe on softs they would be flat. But Ned is right on board the first couple of corners. Really important to get this right, because you don't want to lose your lap before it's even started. Easy to cut, particularly turn 2 there. It's a very flat curve. You really want to run wide out there. He's done well there, keeps it tidy. Hits the apex quite nicely on the power as soon as possible, really important there. He's going to get a nice little toe here from, I think it's a Williams ahead of Candy Cane perhaps. Should hopefully get out of the way. Ned goes purple, 2 tenths up in his best as Candy Cane go off the track. Oh, and Ned's run wide, and that's invalidated his lap, so that's his lap done. He'll have time to come around for one more, but not ideal there. We'll jump back to Holtman Dan, who was just behind on the medium tyres. So not great there for Ned. But Holtman Dan, he's now going to be the next person to come across to finish a lap. We've got Viper just behind him as well, as looks like Holtman Dan's actually bailed in his lap. So we'll go back again to Viper, who looks like he's still going. Holtman Dan's weaving around a bit. He's going to get out of the way. He better get out of the way of Viper. Not being on a lap. Right on board here. Really awkward place to get past someone. He's actually going to take the racing line. So Holtman Dan is now blocking Viper. Far from ideal. Viper won't be happy about that. But looks like he's up. No, he's down in his time. He's 3 tenths down. So this is hurting Viper here. Might have lost a tenth or two behind, but still being on those harder medium tyres compared to the softs his best laps on, it was going to be hard to improve anyway. He's going to have to pull out a really good third sector here. Does Viper. Hits the apex quite now. He's got a bit more traffic in front. That is Candy Cane again. Gets out of the way nicely. No interference there. So he's going to cut that corner and pay for it. So Viper's going to have one more shot, but he doesn't have much ERS to play with. Is he going to go for it? No, he's not. He's going to pull in the pit. So that is Viper's quality done. He's going to have to start in the softs after all of that, which is not ideal, but that pole time looks menacing. Got a couple of guys hot in his heels, but it's going to be tough for anyone to beat it. Will's invalidated his lap. Candy Can, I think, just started the lap. Runs a bit wide out of turn 3, but looks like he's still got that lap valid, which is the most important thing. Lots of guys in outlaps now. A bit of congestion looks like in the middle sector, so they should hopefully split themselves up a little bit. It's like the two Renaults just chilling out together, probably in a party together. Lunacy's retired in the session, won't have time to get a lap on the board. So he's in P11, which is honestly not a bad place to be starting at all. Throw on some fresh mediums or even hards and stretch him. So Lunacy will be sitting pretty happy there, I reckon. There's only 15 cars on the grid. Anyone down there may not be too disappointed about staying down there. Get the chance at going on that optimal race strategy. We'll have to see though, because I'm sure you'd rather be up in up towards the front of the field, particularly at a track which is so difficult to overtake at, but we'll have to wait and see what they choose to do. The Candy Cane looks like his lap's been fairly tidy so far. Oh, as I say, that he's gone very deep into there and he's going to lose a lot of time. If he can hold it together, he may still improve on that 37.7. That's cost him probably half a second, if not a bit more there, having to go off the track and then return back to the track. But not ideal there. Is he going to complete his lap? Looks like he will anyway. Can he improve around the final corner? He's going to improve by 2 tenths regardless of that mistake, but stays in P14, so not ideal there from him. The next one across is going to be Will. No, it's not. It's going to be his teammate Holtman Dan. As he invalidates just as we flick on, so that is Holtman Dan's quality done, P9. Best lap on the softs, so that's not ideal there. I think he was trying to improve in those mediums, but that hasn't paid off for him. Next one across will be the Red Bull of Kurt Boy. He's still got his lap up, so we'll see if he can improve around the final corner. I don't think he's going to. No, he doesn't. 4 tenths down, so not ideal there. The next person will be Will. We'll just flick through these guys as they go. Looks like there's a little a Haas who's just letting people go. That would be F. Leon. Teammate already retired from the session. Gets it nice and tight there. There's Will. Around the final corner. Can he hold the lap together? He's going to improve to P6, 1.2 second improvement, so up in a P6, which is good, but on those soft tyres, which aren't going to be the best race tyre. Schumacher Tada on the soft tyres, he's going to probably improve. He's well over a second up. Actually, he's lost a bit of time that first sector. P5 though is not a bad result. Banana and Curving Texas across the line. Banana improves by a second, goes into P7. Curving Texas stays P3. I think there's no, Leon has finished his last session, so that'll be qualifying. Buff takes pole on the softs, although I'm sure he would have preferred to be on the mediums, but pole is pole, and in this game track position is king a lot of the time, so yeah, so I think he'll be happy with that. He might be able to stretch away a bit at the start of the race, and an early safety car could really help him getting that track position and then being able to put himself on the optimal tyre. So we'll have to see what he can do from pole position on those softer tyres. Stingray Curving will be very happy with P2 and 3 on mediums. That's some really strong times there, so well done to the pair of them on the optimal race tyre there. As we just wait for the session, we'll run through the rest of the grid when we see the list again. As I just sort out this stream stuff, looks like we're good to go. I think everyone in the chat is happy. A little bit of chatter in the global chat for possibly some qualifying blocking. We saw a little bit there with Viper and Hold Up and Dan, but we'll let other people worry about that. So top three, Viper, Stingray, Curving, Texas, fairly usual suspects up there. Leon on debut has qualified P4, which is great, just ahead of Ashun Matata. Patuka in P6 on the mediums, that's going to be good. Banana Will, MBT on soft, 7, 8, 9, aren't going to be too happy about that, but Ned on mediums in 10th. Down the field, 11th through 15th, they're going to get free choice tied, so Lunacy retire early on. 2 seconds off the pace, that's not representative of his pace, so we should see him possibly gain a few positions in the race. It's going to be a long race. I'm going to have to keep your noses clean, but take the opportunities to make moves when they come. So it's going to be a bit of a balancing act for someone like Lunacy. We might see him throw on some hards and play the long game, but we'll have to see. Of course, at the end of the race, that could be important. Looks nice and dry. I would have assumed, interesting with fuel, you'll want to push, but you also want to save. A lighter car will be better and it will save the tyres a bit more. So we might see a couple of these guys on the fuel. But these guys get a chance to choose all that right now. We'll flick over to the tyres as soon as we get the chance to, because I'm curious to see what the strategy will be. That's one good thing about such a long race. The strategies can vary a fair bit, so it makes things quite interesting. As look at that colourful grid, particularly that left-hand side there. Red, yellow, orange, yellow, pink. Using like a bit of rainbow. And we'll put some data up. Tyre. There you go. So top 10 having to start in those quality tyres, bit of a mix there. We've got 3 guys in the mediums, actually 4 guys to Captain Ned. Hold Up Man Dan, Lunacy and Kurt Boy have elected for the medium tyres. They'll have probably the best tyres in the whole field, fresh mediums. As Candy and Jammo have already been disqualified for running into each other on the formation lap. So Jammo on the hard tyres and Candy Cane on mediums. So Jammo's hards are going to be nice and ice cold at the start of the race, which is the last thing you want being on the hard tyres where they're slower anyway. So not ideal there for him. Just get a little bit of a notification saying my internet connection is questionable. So let's hope that the stream doesn't drop. If it does, I'll get that on board as soon as possible. But usually that's not really a problem. So fingers crossed on that one. But yeah, long formation lap. I'll pull up these championship standings now while we have the chance. So this is effectively round 4 of our new mixed global tier championship. Currently, Patuka leads us away. He's got 2 podiums. He won last week's race at Italy in a really strong showing, actually. Curving Texas is 4 points back. Viper is another 1 point back. So top 3 of Patuka, Curving and Viper are separated by just the 5 points. Then you've got Stingray in P4, although I think he missed a race. Yeah, he missed Hungary. So he's definitely in contention for the championship with that kind of pace. Lunacy, Abella, Banana, Prime, MJ and BMAC round out the top 10, but I believe Prime, MJ and BMAC in P8, 9, 10 of the championship are all absent. Yes, they are. So that gives someone like Hotman, Dan, Will, Shumatara, who are down in the next kind of 5 positions, 11 to 15, that gives them a chance to jump up into the top 10 in the standings if they can put together some good races. But we'll have to see. A couple of guys still on just a few points or 0 points, so hopefully the likes of them, got Candy Cane, Kurt Boy and MBT down the back there. We'll see if they can pick up some first points. It's MBT in P9 showing some decent pace. Hold Up Man Dan, he's got 6 points, currently sitting in 12th. He'll be an interesting one on those fresh medium tyres. But that's a general run through of the championship. Renault lead Mercedes in the constructors by just 1 point, and they've got a 17-point gap to Racing Points behind, who's followed closely by Ferrari and Haas and the other 5 teams a bit further back. So that's a general look at our standings so far. But the usual suspects up the front: Viper, Stingray, Curving Texas. You'd expect them up the front, and then we got Patuka and Lunacy on those alternate tyres. So about where you'd expect them to be considering their tyres, but we'll have to see how that plays out in the race. Looks like everybody is on the grid now, which is really exciting. Banana with his traditional hello in the chat. Hopefully He gets a good race in, but we've got 4 red lights, 5 red lights. Our camera is a bit shaky for some reason, not sure why, but we are underway. It's like a decent start for, I think it's Banana on the outside with Shimatata already up in the P6. And as they converge into turn 1, looks like we've got through fairly clean actually. Everyone keeping their noses clean. Looks like curving loses out to Leon there for P3, and Tuka's looking to make a move as well. The 2 records are falling to the back of the grid, which is far from ideal. But Tuka right on the tail of curving Texas here, got lots of pace. As MBT and Ned behind are fighting as well. We'll stay with this little battle. Tuka might like to get through here. Curving Texans will not want to let him by, but Tuka later on the brakes, or maybe a tiny touch there, runs curving off the track a tiny bit, but should hold that position. I think that's fair enough there with tiny contact. Banana is behind as well. So Tuka gaining a couple of places. Shimatata dropping a couple. At the back, looks like those back guys. Katie Kane's jumped a tiny bit, but most of them have held station fairly well. I don't really think anyone picked up damage. I didn't see any damage. Any front wings flying around yet. It looks like Jamo maybe struggling a bit at the back there on those harder tyres. But as you expect, he won't have the pace yet. That will come at the end of the race. But up the front, it is Viper from Stingray from Leon. So as you'd expect with such a short run to turn 1, not too many positional changes, but Stingray up in a P2 on those medium tyres, that's going to be really important for the race. Kevin Texas in P4, it looks like someone's round. I think it's a racing point. It's MBT's gone round, so I wonder if he's made contact with someone or if he's just spun on the curb, but that is not good there for the racing point man. No damage, or at least visual damage, which is good for him, but he's going to be right down the back of the field now. Looks like Lucy and Candy Cane getting nice and close together as well. Lucy will be wanting to get through. He's probably got a bit more pace than Candy Cane. He's going to do a nice switch back there. Absolutely wonderful there. Something happened up here. Unless that's just our leaderboard glitching out, I think it is. Oh, thank goodness. I was a bit worried that something might have happened up here. The positions were changing around, but looks like that is just a glitch. So Ned and Will switching positions. Will gets stays in P5 actually. I'm not sure if that's just more glitching. Gotta love Cody's for that. But I think we're all good. Viper is still for some reason in P9 on our leaderboard, even though he is out front with Stingray in close proximity. Looks like the leaderboard sorting itself now. F1 Leon. F Leon, sorry, just behind, as I think that should be correct now for leaderboard. I think that should be alright. Stingray right on the tail of Viper. Excuse me. As you see, Kirby Texas right in the back as well. Looks like Patuka's dropped slightly. But he did have to get past a couple of cars. Shimatada's struggling on those softs already in P6. He's got Hotman Dan, Banana Cake Pie right behind as well. So I reckon the softs are already going to be worse than the mediums. Having done out lap, hot lap, and possibly an in lap. As Banana Cake Pie's just lost out to Ned as well. P8, Ned down into the tight right hander after the DRS zone. No DRS yet, of course, but looking fairly racy on those medium tyres. As we see a little bit tap there from Will and Lucy. Lucy's going to have to back out of that one, I think. Yeah, smart there. That's not really a place you can throw the nose unless you roll alongside. But Lucy possibly getting a bit held up now on those medium tyres. Looks like the soft guys are really struggling at the moment. Might see Lucy make a move here, but we'll have to keep an eye at the front because it looks like the front four. Oh, and there's a spin there, and Will has gone around. Lucy gets through, and the Alfa Romeo is left spinning at the end there, so not ideal there for him. Lucy into P11 now. Up the front is Stingray close enough to make a move. Not too sure if he is. He's going to open DRS, and it looks like he's going to go for it. He's going to go around the outside. Viper defends the inside. Stingray is not going to make it stuck though. Viper stays in the lead, but runs wide. That will probably be a warning for track limits there, but Leon and Curving Texas right on the tail as well, still particularly as well. Getting close. Looks like Lucy finally gets past Candy Cane as well into P10, but he's got a bit of a gap ahead now. Banana and Ned, who have both dropped fairly large gaps to the guys in front of them as well. So Lucy's got a bit of work to do to close those gaps now. Banana looks like maybe struggling on those soft tyres, as are Shimatata. We see a big lock up there from, I think it was Viper, running a bit deep there. Almost showed the nose to Stingray, which is the last thing you want. I know Stingray is not afraid to throw the nose in there when he's got half a chance of getting the move done. So always Viper gets a bit squirrely with power. That's going to excite Stingray, I think, a bit, but it doesn't make the move. Viper going deep, so obviously under pressure here from the Mercedes man. Stingray looks like he's got a lot more confidence on these tyres at the moment. I reckon Viper would be good to pit in the next couple of laps if he's going to stop it. I'd even think about throwing it in this or next lap. But if he's going to try and go to hards, he's going to have to stick with this struggling for a few more laps. So you have to try his hardest to keep Stingray behind, but looks like Stingray's got a mega run here. He's going to go down the inside into turn 1, should make this move. He's definitely alongside and ahead at this point, gets the move done for the lead of the race, so that's important there. As Lucy gets past Banana Cake Pie as well, we've got some yellows and Bananas in the pits, that's why. So he's the first one to go, obviously not liking those soft tyres. It's probably not a bad move either. We've got some yellow, I think that's MBT going around. But let's just stay with this battle. Yeah, it is MBT. He's lost out a couple more positions as well. So we've got Leon and Viper getting nice and close together. It's got more disaster down the back. Looks like Candy Cane has gone around as well. So a couple of guys making mistakes or getting involved in collisions early on. Candy Cane's going to have to move that car before it gets disqualified. Looks like he's just doing so now, but not ideal there for a couple of guys. MBT has come into the pits as well after spinning that. But up the front here, Curving Texas right in the back of Leon. And this fighting's lap 2 to close in as well. You can see him right there. So this top 5 looking really pacey, and the Shumataro hasn't even dropped too far either. He's only a second and a bit back. Holtman Dan is getting pulled along Ned a little bit further back, and then a big gap for Lunacy, 6 seconds. As Kevin Texas is going left, right and centre to try and get past, but can't really get it in the run into that corner there. So Kevin Texas looking racy as well. I think those softs are pretty much cooked at this point. So you can see the gap at the front, 1.5 seconds to Stingray. We know Viper's really quick. I don't think that's quite representative there. Banana Cake Pie gets past on those fresh mediums now. So Banana Cake Pie is 2 stopping, we can confirm that. So good call to get off those early. That might be a warning there for Curvin to cut the corner. What do these two do though? Yep, Leon is in the pits, as I probably would recommend at this point, struggling on those soft tyres so much. He's got 5 seconds for speeding, that's going to really hurt his chances for a win. Now having to preserve that probably in his next stop if he does go on mediums, which he probably will at this point. Hards might not just make it. But Viper, you can see him really struggling on the power now. Leon has put on mediums, so he's going to have to serve that 5 seconds at his net pit stop. But look at Patuka and Curving Texas right in the back of Viper. We might actually stay on board here. This Curving's going to go around the outside. Can he outbrake him into the corner? No, Viper's going to hold it. A little bit of contact. Viper runs him out wide. Tad and that's going to let Patuka through. So Curving won't be too happy about that. But might be able to get some vengeance if Patuka manages to get a run on Viper, which looks more than likely at this point. The Ferrari really struggling. And this battling's allowed Shumataro right back in as well. Look at that, he's right there, and he's got Hotman Dan right behind as well. So these guys all still nice and close together. You can see how much time you lose from fighting. Look at Stingray, already 4.5 seconds in the lead. That is absolutely massive in 2 laps. So that just tells you all you need to know about those soft tyres. Absolutely gone. So Stingray is now in a fantastic position to win this race, having the gap as well as the tyre strat. As Patuka's going to go down the inside here, he's going to just leave enough room there, like any good racer should do. He's going to have the inside for the next corner, and Viper's going to have to back out of that one. Those tyres are gone. You can see him sliding all over the place. Curving Texas will be the next one to fight, and we'll take the Shumataro as well. Still in those soft tyres, so he's looking a bit more comfortable than Viper. You can see how much he's struggling though. It's absolutely ridiculous. Wouldn't be surprised if Viper in the pits this lap actually. And he's going to call it, yeah. So keep an eye on the gap for Leon, because Leon's probably going to get a nice undercut on the tyres, but he comes into the pits, Hotman down, picks up a time penalty for speeding. Sorry, not for speeding, for going off track, which is not ideal as well. But finally, Curving Texas and Patuka are released to catch Stingray, who's already put a 4.5 second gap. Shumatara's still out and soft as well. He's going to start to struggle this lap also. Where is Leon though? Like Viper, looks like Leon's going to get by Viper. Yeah, Viper just coming out of the pits now. So Viper's lost a lot of time with that undercut there. It's going to be pretty massive. So Hotman down and Shumataro, oh, a bit of contact, and Shumataro, oh, nearly loses the car. Oh, he has lost the car and he's hit Ned. Has Ned got damaged? Looks like he's managed to get away with it just, but Shumataro struggling there. Looks like he got pushed wide maybe slightly, or pushed onto the curb, sorry, my mistake slightly. Lost the rear end, tried to get power down and just tapped Ned, but I think they've both escaped without damage, which is really good. That would really suck to lose some front wing at this point of the race. But they've gotten away with that one there. But Hotman Dan up in a P4 now, starting right towards the back. We'll pull up 3 positions gained. So we've got Patuka and Curving Texas going side by side. Curving Texas gets, stays ahead of Patuka there. Patuka looks really quick though on these medium tyres. But in terms of position changes, Holtman and Dan has gained the most, 7 places up. Viper has lost 10, but that is due to a pit stop. He's lost out a lot of time to Leon though, who got 1 lap undercut. He's lost 5 seconds. So that shows you how massive the undercut is and how bad those softs were. But yes, it's interesting to see who's managed to climb and drop so far. Stingray climbing up position for P2 on those medium tyres on the optimal strategy, which is great. We'll put tyres back up as a guide. Tuka's still in back of curving Texas. Looks like he ran a little bit wide into turn 3, but managed to keep the car there, which is good for him. Tuka's probably not close enough to really have a run. No, curving Texas puts in a good first sector there. Leon gets the fastest lap and he gets past Jammer at the same time as well, so looks like he's got a lot of pace and picks up 3 seconds at the same time, and I think he may have possibly made contact with Jammer there, as Jammer is just about at the fence, so Jammer's lost out there. He's on hard tyres from the start of the race, but possibly a bit of contact there. We saw Leon get past him, which is not ideal there, but Jammer's now going to have some hot, harder tyres, which is just about the worst thing you could ask for around here. So not ideal there. Tuka gets 3 seconds, which is going to be costly for him come the end of the race when they're all accumulated together and added to the race time. Looks like he's really pushing the pace on the medium tyres. They are the best race tyres, so you want to make the most of what you can. Speaking of making the most of them, Stingray looking really in control. I wonder if Curving Texas and Patuka can start to close that gap. It's going to be tough with the clear air that Stingray has, as long as he doesn't make a mistake. He should be right. But Stingray in a great position at the front here, starting lap 8. So about a quarter of the way through the race now. Got his teammate Ned trying to hunt down Horneman Dan as well. Those two have got similar pace. Shumatada's still out with his softs, and he's finally got a pit. So maybe trying a one-stop. He's probably going to pick up a track extending warning from running out of the pit lane there. But I want to see what he goes on actually, because this could be a unique strategy here. Looks like most people have got to try and two-stop it from the soft tyres. He's put on hards. Yep, so Shumatada's going to try the soft hard. He's probably going to have the worst hards at the end of the race. Candy Cane's done the same thing as well, but I mean, it could pay off for him. We'll have to see how it works out for Shumatada. He's going to drop to P11 though, behind Brunei Cake Pie on that two-stop strat. So, see, Banana, Viper, at Leon all have some clear air ahead of them after their pit stops, which is really going to help their strategy. The last thing he wants to come out in traffic and have to try and force the issue on someone, and try and kill a lot. Like, you're going to kill a lot of those tyres. Whereas if you've got some clear air, you can try to save a tiny bit and give yourself a bit of life towards the end of your stint. So important for those three, Leon, Viper and Banana Cake Pie, the three of them just there. Important for them to get some clear air on those medium tyres so they can start to push the pace now. Speaking of pushing, so like Ned is pushed up from the back of Holland and Dan. Still not really falling too far back from Patuka, who has fallen a tiny bit from Curving Texas, but Ned looking pretty racy now. 7-lap old medium tyres, plus the qualifying laps. So Ned's looking handy. We might see him attempt to move possibly if he can get close enough. But Holland and Dan doing well for now, which is doing really well. We see Holtman down run a bit wide. That will be a track extending warning. Don't want to be picking up too many of those. Yes, that's going to just hurt you at the end of the race. And around a track like Singapore, where you don't traditionally see too many penalties, the less you've got, the better. So you really can't afford to make too many mistakes on the track limits front. There's a couple of guys we've seen. I think Tuka we saw get one before. Hotman Dan has one. I think a couple of guys down the bottom as well have one too. So that's going to hurt them at the end. So Jamo there just gets another one on those 7-lap old hards still. He's going to persevere with them even after that spin, which I guess he doesn't have much choice, does he? Because he has to make 2 more stops anyway, if he did have to move off them. But Ned looking real racy. We might ride on board with him actually here, as Patuka's dropped back a lot as well. So Patuka's made some kind of mistake. He's dropped 3.5 seconds to Curving Texas. We've got some yellows. That looks like MBT. I think he's just had a bit of a moment there as well. We saw him stationary between turn 18 and 19 chicanes. But we'll stay on board with these guys though, because they are the closest crew on track. In the comments we got Pariah, sorry if I said that incorrectly, commentated Race Spec on F1 2019. Good to see you in a stream again, my friend. If you're interested in commentating again, then let us know, because I think we are short a couple of commentators in a couple of tiers, so let us know what you'd like to do. It looks like, oh, Tuka's in the pits. Has Tuka got damage? We saw him drop a lot, and 8 laps on mediums is a lot less than you expect. I would have said you could do 12, 13, 14 laps on those. Is he getting front wing change? He is. So Patuka has hit the wall somewhere. He's made a mistake, and he's now going onto those hards a bit earlier than he would have liked. So that's actually really big there in terms of the championship for Patuka. That's a big loss there. He's going to have a long race in front of him now. Our championship leader and probably favourite to win it. But yeah, that's a setback there. He's now dropped behind Banana ahead of Shumatata. So everyone in front of him still has to make another stop. But those hard tyres aren't going to be the quickest things on the block, so it's going to have to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of time he can close back. Pariah, if you want to get into it, go chuck Plebs a message. Mr. Race Spec, he's always happy to have a couple of people on board, or alternatively you can message me as well. I can let you know after the race if you'd like to get back involved with commentary. That goes for anyone tuning in. If you'd like to be involved in the Race Spec community, whether it's a driver or a commentator or just a friendly person in the chats, make sure to let us know. I believe there are links in the YouTube channel description, and you can find a few things on social media as well. So make sure to get on board if you'd like to be part of the Race Spec community in a larger way. We're always open and welcoming new people, so yes, get involved if you're interested. I can help you do that if you would like. It's like Leon and Lucy's in the pits. So he sitting in P6 before, I think it was, or P5. He's going to pit onto the hard tyres. So he's going to have to do 21 laps on the hards. He's going to pit there for hards. Good stop there, no dramas on that one. He's going to slot in probably between Lucy and Shibatata. No, he's going to be behind the McLaren, so into P11, but obviously slightly fresher tyres than the Shibatata in front of him. So Viper and Kurtboy going side by side. Viper gets through on the DRS there, so well done from him. Having to make up a bit more time, already stopping. I'm sure I'm really struggling at the start of the race, but he's effectively in that P6 because everyone has to stop again. Viper doing the 2-stop, having qualified on the soft tyres. Everyone else in front of him doing a 1-stop, bar Leon, who's also 2-stopping. But we saw that massive undercut from Leon on Viper. They were right next to each other, with Viper ahead of Leon, and that undercut was worth about 4.5-5 seconds. So really big there. But yeah, Viper looking like he's starting to close that gap again, got some good pace, but he's going to have to overtake pretty much every car in front of him to get back onto the top step. It's going to be no easy feat considering the gaps. We'll pull up the gap to leader now. So Viper is 21 seconds off the lead, so he's got to make all of that back up in the race. As it looks like a couple of guys now pitting. That's going to put Hold and Dan into the lead. Curving Texas and Stingray out of P1 and 2 are in the pits. So calling it now, Patuka gets another time penalty that's going to be costly. Hold and Dan will inherit the lead. Leone in P2, Viper into P3 now, so Rose Stingray relative to him. So Viper is coming out of turn 3 now, so that gap's almost nothing. See Viper just there on the straight. That gap is, where is it? It's about 5.5 seconds between Stingray and Viper, so possibly a bit less than I would have thought. So Viper's going to have to put in some good laps now. Stingray's now got Kurtboy in front though, which is not going to be pleasing him too much, but we should see Stingray possibly throw a nose in if he gets a chance on the hard tyres. Kurtboy runs a bit deep. Curving Texas just behind, 2 seconds behind. He won't mind his traffic here, so Killboy's got to, he might just concede here to Stingray. No, he's not, he's going to defend it. He doesn't need it, let him past, but ideally it's not really his race. Stingray's going to go around the outside in a place where you can pretty much never see overtakes. That's actually a really sweet move there from Stingray, getting that done cleanly. Now it's Kevin's turn to get past, although this might be a bit more straightforward going into a braking zone. But Kurtboy doing his best to stay on there, but these two aren't really his race at the moment. So Kevin takes us down the inside, he's gone deep. Oh, he's just got that stopped. That was a bit nervous, I think. Maybe a bit of poo came out of Kevin Texas's pants on that one, but he's got through now, which is important. He can continue chasing after Stingray. These two currently P1 and 2s. Patuka is about 8 seconds behind the pair of them in effective P3. Holtman down to the pit from P1 now. He's going to come out probably around about the Patuka, Banana Cake Pie, or possibly a tiny bit behind them. Actually, we'll stay with those guys. We'll stay with the Shuna Matata actually, because I think he's going to be a bit closer to Shuna Matata. Kerbo picks up 3 seconds. He's in the pits as well, so he's probably picked that up on the pit entry. Where's Holloman Dan? He's coming out of the pit lane now, so Shuna Matata is going to just get him. And what about Lunacy? Lunacy's going to get him as well. So Holloman Dan now in P9, but doesn't have to stop again. Lunacy is now in that P8 position, doesn't have to stop either. So Lucy's done quite well for himself, not making up a massive number of positions on track. As Ned gets past Gemmo, and they've got someone coming out of the pits there as well. The two Red Bulls getting nice and close together. A bit of contact there from Kurtboy and Gemmo. Kurtboy still always more contact, and Gemmo has gone round, so that is a bit of inter-team rivalry going on there. And I wonder if Gemmo's got some damage now. I'm not getting a great camera angle for it. I think that right end plate, is it there or is it not there? It is not there, so Gemmo has damage on those hards that he started on. Far from ideal. There's a Haas going slowly in here, or is it the other Haas? I can't quite tell. No, I'm not sure. There was some yellows in the middle sector as well, around about where Lunacy was, but I'm not too sure what they were for. That was a weird one. But yeah, unideal for Gemmo. He's going to have to come into the pits to slap, probably 2 stoppers at the end, probably in medium to soft, or soft to medium, whichever way, because he's not going to want to stay on those hards with damage for much longer. That's a lot of pace potential missing. In terms of the gaps, this is actually the closest gap on track here. Everyone is fairly spread out at this point, so just trying to get their strategies to play out. We should see hopefully a few of them converge towards the end of the race. But Lucy hunting down Shuma Matata, both of them are on the same strap, but Lucy has 3 lap fresher tyres, so Lucy will have the better pace in terms of his equipment towards the end of the race. But Shuma Matata in that trap position. You got Banana Cake Pie only a second and a bit up the road as well. Banana does have to stop again, so safety car could really help Banana. But without that, Banana's going to lose a fair bit of position. It's going to be interesting to see what the play is. Shuma Matata and Lunacy looking quite strong for good points here, but Banana will be on the quickest tyres at the end of the race. He's going to have a lot of time to catch up though when he does come into the pits. Up the front, Leon and Viper, 3 seconds between them still, so since Leon has pit, or since the pair from the pit, Leon's shown some really good pace out front compared to Viper. And the gap did close to about 2 seconds, but it stretched back out to nearly 3 again, so Leon's found a good bit of pace in the last couple of laps, which is good to see from him. That's good for his chances, but Stingray is only 5 seconds off the lead on the one-stop strat, so Stingray curving Patuka, just to reiterate again, do not have to stop. Leon, Viper and Banana Cake Pie do have to stop, as will Jammo, and Candy Cane will probably have to stop as well, as he picks up 3 seconds to his troubles. So a bit of an interesting period in the race, because there's not too much happening now, possibly a bit of tyre saving for some of these guys. These guys are the closest battle on track, Banana, Shuma Matata and Lunacy, so we'll stay with this little battle for the next little while unless something interesting happens elsewhere. Shuma Matata nice and close. He's actually got Lunacy on his outside. Lunacy's going to not quite be able to hold it around the outside. Really difficult corner to get a move done, kind of mid-speed. To really throw the nose in there, you need a slower corner. Give yourself a bit more chance to get the car ahead. Not quite being able to there. He's probably not going to quite be close enough. Shimatata with DRS from Banana Cake Pie, which isn't going to help Lunacy. And Shimatata is actually going to run here. He might throw a nose around the outside. He's going to go let the brakes, and his car is ahead. And Banana, yeah, doesn't have much to fight with there. Shimatata, a great move there. Really strong, as Banana's going to let Lunacy go as well. That is one of the only times you're going to see Banana let anyone pass. So a bit of niceness there from Banana Cake Pie. I wish he showed the same to me personally, but you can't ask for too much. But Lunacy getting through now into P7, Banana in P8. He's probably going to have to pit in the next 2 or so laps for some more medium tyres. So safety car, as I said before, can really help Banana, but without that he's going to struggle to make up those positions again. So it looks like Holloman Dan as well on his hard tyres starting to close into Banana. So he's going to have his hands full, the Renault driver, the next couple of laps while he struggles with these dying tyres. But up the front, worth noting, Stingray has put in some good times. He's close to second to both Viper and Leon, so those mediums are definitely not feeling as nice as they were before. Stingray and the other hard guys look like they're starting to put in some good lap times in general. So looks like the hardest of the tire to be on at this point in the race. Viper really struggling. We might see Stingray throw a nose in. Viper maybe running a pretty aggressive setup because it looks like he's struggling towards the end of his stint, so that could be killing the tyres. Stingray is going to go around the outside and he's ahead before the braking zone, and Viper has nothing really to defend with. Stingray gets a bit tail happy on the exit there, but he's got the position P2, effectively P1, with Leon still having a pit. So looks like the hards have actually turned on quite nicely. At a lot of tracks the hards are really not viable just because they are so slow. They're not going to die, and they're not going to really waver in pace, but looks like around Singapore they are quite good. So that's something that a lot of these guys will be noting down for the next league race they have at Singapore, because Stingray and some of the other guys, Kerwin, Patuka, Shimatata, Lunacy, Holtman, Dan, those guys up on the hard tyres, closing down medium runners, they are really putting in a strong point for the hards around Singapore. So looks like they've got the strategy on point and they won't have to pit again, which is big. So good to see the hard tyres really working well. Banana's lost 2.5 seconds to Lunacy already, so probably the right decision in terms of long race pace for Banana to let them go, but you can see him really struggling there. Holtman Dan's right in his tail. Banana's not going to defend. No, he's going to defend a lot harder than he did Lunacy. This is more like the Banana, I know. He's going to stay there. You can see him sliding around mid-corner. When you're sliding mid-corner, you know you're in trouble with the tyres. On the power and the brakes, you can kind of understand, but he doesn't use the assist. He does use the assist, sorry. As Holtman Dan picks up 3 seconds, plus kisses the wall, which is not ideal, but he should have the run through here. Can he get alongside? He's going to use all 3% of his battery to do it. It looks like he's going to do it down the inside. Banana, not much to fight with. Has to concede to Holtman Dan, who I've just noticed has front wing damage. So I think that tells you all you need to know about the medium tyres. They are cooked. As Candy Cane picks up 5 seconds for corner cutting. That's a direct corner cut. I'm not sure. He must have just gone straight on in corner perhaps, because there's not many places you can pick up 5 seconds here. As he's picked up another 5 seconds, we might have to just quickly check this out. He might just come to the pits to retire. 2 5-second penalties, that shows that he's fed up with something. He's going to pick up 5 seconds of speeding in the pit lane, so that's 15 seconds now, and he has to retire in the pit. So not the weekend he would have been after Candy Cane, but we can't worry too much about that, because look at this, Kirby Texas now right in the back of Viper. So the mediums are done in terms of any sort of pace for now. So Viper is probably, he's on 10 lap old medium, so he's probably going to have to stay out another lap to make the mediums to the end work. But if he's really struggling on these, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him pit this lap, but he is going to stay one more lap at least. Kevin Texas is going to want to get past him quickly, so he can chase after Stingray, who's already on the tail of Leon ahead. I'll have to apologise to Leon if I've been saying his name wrong. I'm not sure if it's Leone or Leon. We'll stick with Leon because that's what we've been calling him for the entire race. But you can see Viper drifting through there. Up ahead though, Stingray right in the back of the owner's school. Leon is... No, I've said it different again. I've said about 10 different things. Kevin Texas will get Viper though into the DRS braking zone Pretty simple move there, Viper struggling, but Stingray not managing to get past Leon yet. But looking like he's got some really good pace at the moment. Banana Cake Pie has made his second stop, worth noting as well. This is the first of the 2 stoppers to call it. He's going to have to do 14 laps in the race. And Stingray picks up 3 seconds, cutting that little chicane there. As that's getting nice and slippery. Stingray down the inside, gets the move done. Really brave through there, really narrow section of the track, but Stingray gets it done. What can Leon do to fight back? He's going to look down, no, he's going to concede. I think he knows this is a battle he can't really win at this phase of the race. 12 lap old mediums. I wouldn't be surprised to see Leon in this lap. 13 laps to the end of the race should be doable. The tyres will be a lot better with a lighter car. Just have to see whether he chooses to pit now. If I was him, I would definitely be pitting now, because if you just continue to stay out, you're just going to continue to lose time. The mediums at the end of the race won't be any more worse than they are now. He has called it. He's been to the pits from P2. Kevin Texas will take P3 again, and Leon gets another 5 seconds. Oh no, we saw him get 5 seconds at the first stop, so he's going to have to serve that now. And he's picked up a second one for his troubles. So Leon not having the best of times with the pit line. You see that 5 seconds being served now. That's going to drop him back past Viper. So that hard work he did in terms of getting the undercut on Viper is going to be gone. Viper is... Oh, look at that. That gap is nothing, but now Leon has got that additional 5 seconds. So Leon has lost all that advantage from the first stops. So he's got a bit of work to do to hang on to that position. Ned's going to come through and split the pair of them. So Ned in P7 now. Viper won't be happy about that. But Leon is putting some good laps now to mitigate that 5 second penalty he picked up. I don't think Viper had penalties. I don't think I've seen any pop up yet, but I could be wrong. I will check those toward the end of the race when it will matter. But Viper now right in the back of Ned, who's just going to let him go. Smart move there. There's no point really fighting Viper on fresh mediums. This is going to be the quickest car on track with Leon. And also Banana at this phase of the race. Jamo's also picked from P14 onto mediums finally. So gritting it out on those hards with damage. He's now in last, but with MBT right ahead. So these two possibly looking like they'll be in a bit of a battle, but MBT will probably have to pit again. He might be really close to puncture territory at this race, so that's going to be an interesting battle to have a look at as well. Possibly for a couple of points if trouble happens to the guys in front of him. Don't retire the pits. That would be my message, because you could be on for a couple of handy little points. So we'll have to see whether they hang on to their tyres. Gemma should have a fair bit of pace now on those fresh and medium tyres. So he may look for a move. He's not going to be close enough this time, but possibly on the next time around. He's actually going to... Oh, he thought about sending it. MBT's gone well off the track. That would be a warning for a track extension. But that is a little battle left to keep an eye on as well. Up here we've got Lunacy right in the back of Shumatata as well for P4. So both these guys going to the end. But Lucy on those slightly fresher tyres. Shumatara's going to have to look after those hards a fair bit to take them to the end. But Leon and Viper are just behind the pair of them on those fresh mediums, so we should see them converge in the next few laps. Lunacy will probably not make it too hard for his teammate, although Lunacy is in a strong championship battle as well, so it'll be interesting to see how the Haas guys approach it. It's got some yellows. That looks like a Red Bull. Is it Kurt Boy? No, it's his teammate Jamo. Jamo's gone off. He's lost a bit of front wing. Oh, and MBT's with him. So they've had an incident down there. They've crashed into each other, I think. They've both gone down the escape road, and there may be some words spoken after the race between them. MBT doesn't have damage. I wonder if Jamo's just tried to dive bomb him. Maybe they've just run into each other there. Can't comment too much on that. We didn't quite see what happened, but that's killed both of their races a bit. Jabo's now got damage. He's probably have to pit again. Probably put some more mediums, maybe even softs on. No, he's going to stay out, so he's going to try and stick it out on those older, that damaged car. Look at Leon move right at the back of Lucy, and he's going to have a run through here. Bit silly for the nose in there, but he's now going to lose a bit more time to Viper as well. So might see Leon make a move soon. But Lucy right in the back of Shumatata, these four in really close proximity on the track. 3 Ferrari-powered cars versus the McLaren. Looks like Lucy, yeah, they're all going to have DRS, so It's not going to be the easiest thing to get past. Viper sets the quickest lap, but now he's caught this pack, so his next lap will be a lot slower, I think, than that lap there. But that's an extra point at the moment. Lucy's run wide, so that's going to allow Leon through, and if Leon can stay ahead of Viper, that's going to be really annoying for him. It could be a good play for the Haas guys. We'll see if Viper can get alongside, but Lucy may want to defend this one. No, he's not really going to, actually. So Lucy getting by, and Viper's really deep in the brakes. Oh, there's a bit of contact ahead between Leon and Shimatada. Leon's going to get through. Oh, and Viper's running back of Shimatada. He's got damage, I think that was. Shimatada may as well fight this one now, because Viper's going to be slow. He's going to make a bit more contact, but Viper gets through, but has front wing damage. It's going to be massive for the race. Shimatada has to slot in behind. But Viper's going to struggle through this middle sector here. So Viper, I think, just killed his race in terms of fighting for a podium. With that, they're going far too deep on the brakes, ready to back at Shimatada. It's not ideal there, but on those medium tyres, it may make up for that lack of downforce compared to the guys around him on hards. Viper is going to drop a lot of time to Leon, so this has been a bit of a possibly bit of a saving grace bit for Leon. With that 5 seconds, he may just get away with it if he can pull away from Viper, but Viper's shooting himself in the foot there. Gemmo has picked for more mediums as well, so actually I'm not sure if he's picked for mediums. They may be softs. Yes, they are softs, so Gemmo will have the best tyres of everyone after picking up damage with the collision with MBT. You see Leon already nearly 2 seconds ahead of Viper though, so that damage is hurting him. Lunacy is currently the only car on track to have DRS, being within the second of the Shimatada in front. The gap between the Shimatada and Viper is around about a second and a half, so the Shimatada will not have DRS. So Lunacy, this is his chance to get past the next lap or two while Shimatada is somewhat defenseless, but he's got no battery. I had to check the battery there. Lunacy got almost nothing. Shimatada is in the mid-low 20s in terms of ERS. So Shimatada has a little bit to defend with, but with those 3-lap older tyres, he's going to start losing the grip towards the end of the race. So Lunacy may be trying to throw the nose in at some point if he gets a good run. Let's see when he does that. He makes a little bit of a mistake there into the second sector, which is going to hurt a little bit of his race time. He's dropped back to 8 tenths now, so he's lost a couple of tenths in that little mistake there. Has Lunacy, but with DRS and using that battery, you should be able to close that in again pretty easily. But Shimatada driving very well. He's done a good race so far, being clean and consistent, as he often does. I think Shimatada is one of those guys who is kind of always there or thereabouts, always sitting in the points. Always kind of in the fight there. He goes about his business, doesn't cause too much trouble. He's a good racing driver, although in saying that, he has had a rough couple of last few weeks, I think. I'll just check the standings, because I know he had a bad race last race. Yeah, so he finished P14 last week, but I think Shimatada is a very solid driver. Him and Lucy, we saw before this merger with the Global Tiers racing in Tier 2, were both quite strong in terms of contending for top 5s, so neither of them are any sort of slouch at all. It's good to see them fighting for some solid points here again in the new Global Tier 1. Let's see who can come out on top of that little battle. Now, what is the next closest gap? I think the next closest gap is Viper and Leon, which is now 3 seconds. That's growing, but Ned's catching a pair of these guys actually, so Ned 2.4 seconds back now, is slowly reeling them in. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres than Lunacy and 4 laps fresher than Shimatada, so at the end of this race he's going to have a bit more under his bum to push with in terms of tyres. So that could be quite useful for getting a couple more points next to his name. We'll check the penalties. We might actually check the penalties now while there's not that much happening on track. Stingray, I think, has 1. Yes, Stingray has 1 penalty. Curving Texas has 2 invalidated lap times. I think they're just a warning, so Curving may be clean. Patuka's got a couple. I'm not too sure what all these invalidated lap times mean. I'm not sure if they're penalties or not. Moose picks up 3 seconds as we check that. Leon has 2 penalties plus the 5 seconds. Viper is completely clean, minus 1 warning. 2 makes that 2 warnings as he gets the second one right then. Shimatara's got a couple of penalties. Lucy's got the 1 penalty. Looks like that validated lap time may be a penalty. Ned will have 1 in that case, and Kurt Boy has a fair few. Looks like 3 penalties there. But that 5-second would have been served, so it's really confusing. As Patuka's picked up, I think that's going to be his 3rd penalty. We'll check that again right now. Actually, it might be his 4th penalty. I'm not too sure. Those invalidated lap times are incredibly confusing. I believe sometimes they are penalties and sometimes they are warnings. So that is, yeah, that makes our job a lot harder in terms of gauging where people are going to finish at the end of the race. We'll put up 3 seconds. I'm curious now. Let's see what that looks like. That says penalty, so who knows? There's a lot of weirdness that Cody tends to pull out in terms of leaderboards and times and general stuff. So, yes, get your act together, please. That will make our job a lot easier in terms of gauging things like penalties and other sort of bugs that we see. But we've got 6 laps to go, plus this lap that they're completing now, so still a bit of time to go. Actually 7 laps most of the field. I think Stingray is in sector 1, so 7 laps to go effectively for the field. Who has to I don't think anyone has to stop again. I think MBT may have to stop again. He's going to have some really old tyres by the end of the race, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he chooses to stay out or maybe throw on some softs, go for a fastest lap, which I think currently Viper holds. Yes, Viper has the fastest lap in P5. He's nearly dropped that 5 seconds to Leon, but with those extra penalties, Leon's going to have to pull out even more of a gap. I think did MBT just hit the wall there? I think he might have. He's actually getting lapped now, so he needs to get out of the way of, I think that's Leon there. Yes, it is. So P4 and up have lapped a couple of guys. I think Gemmo may have been lapped by a couple of guys as well. Gemmo, he's been lapped by P8 and up, so Gemmo not having a fantastic race. Overall, we saw that collision with MBT set them back. So far from ideal there. In terms of battles, Shumatara's actually dropped Lucy 3 seconds and Ned's caught up, so Lucy not showing great pace at the moment. Has he got some damage? I don't think I saw any. That's not a great camera angle to show us. No, he doesn't have any visual damage, so maybe just struggling for pace at the moment. But Ned's right at the back of him. Not close enough to make a move this lap, but we may see him throw the nose in soon. This is actually the only battle on track under 3 seconds. So everyone's really spread out at the moment, but these two will stay with for the next couple of laps possibly, as they are the closest battle and the only battle in fact on track. The gaps at the front, we haven't mentioned the front guys too much. Stingray is ahead of Patuka by 4 seconds, and they've got an 18-second gap to Patuka behind. Plus with Patuka's penalties, he's got really no chance of getting those 2. Leon's actually caught Patuka a fair bit. That gap was really big at the pit stop. I think it was kind of 14-15 seconds. I wasn't sure if he'd be able to catch him, but I didn't really mention it, but I think Leon will catch Patuka, but with those penalties, he may not be able to jump in the ultimate race result there. That's just MBT behind lapped car to Viper, who's 5 seconds behind as well. Looks like he's just trying to push to stay with Viper. We'll stay with these guys. Ned not quite been able to get past Lunacy. Possibly next lap. We'll say that every lap till he gets past him, I reckon. But yeah, gaps up the front, fairly large. We'll keep an eye on that gap between P3 and P4 though, because that could be a battle worth watching for a podium position. Then Shumatara, Lunacy have 5 and 3 seconds. The cars ahead as well, and then you've got Ned and a big gap behind Ned to Kurt Boy, 19 seconds. So Benarcate behind the 2-stop as well. He's dropped to P10, so he's not had the greatest race on the 2-stop strat. Looks like the 1-stop is the way to go. We would have expected to see Banana a little bit further up, possibly around about the Shumatara Lunacy battle. Shumatara picks up 3 seconds. It's not great there. Ned still on the back of Lunacy, but not really been able to fill the nose in.
We might ride on board with the black Mercedes. Yeah, looks nice under lights. That's one thing we haven't talked about either. The cars under lights, they do look quite cool. Most races are during the day, but it's kind of nice to see these guys in a different kind of atmosphere. I think Singapore was the first night race ever in F1 when it hit the calendar. I think it was 07. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. I think it was 2007, the first Singapore Grand Prix. It's the first night race on the F1 calendar. And since then it's been a tradition on the calendar. I believe 2020 is the only year since then it hasn't run. So that Ned's now close enough. He's probably going to throw the nose in now. He's going to be alongside into the braking zone. Lucy's not going to let him go easily, but Ned gives him space in the exit, and that is a good move there from Ned. Lucy right behind still, but Ned is now ahead into P7. It's a good race there from Ned. Good fight. Making a strong move down the inside, and Lucy not being able to really fight back. Sort of tried to hold it around the outside, but never quite had the traction to do it. But we'll have to see if Lucy can stay with him and possibly make a move towards the end of the race. As always, kissed the wall slightly. That might be a bit of a confidence dampener. But these two may start to catch Ashima Tada if his tyres go off 4 laps older than Ned's tyres and 3 laps older than Lucy's. But Ashima Tada doing very well at the moment. He's now got MBT inside of him. As funny as that sounds, he's going to pick up 3 seconds as MBT. So I'm trying to push the pace still, but not really following the blue flag rules as he should. But let's not worry about that. That's not our thing to be bothered about. But let's jump on board here though, because Leon is right behind Patuka now for P3. I'm not sure. There was kind of too many penalties for the pair of them to really be able to predict who gets ahead ultimately. And Viper, I think, might even jump the pair of them in terms of penalties. I think Patuka's got 9 seconds. Leon has, I think, possibly 11. And Viper, I was just going to say, has just the 3, but he's picked up another one, so that could possibly be a chance of the podium disappearing. But Leon's going to go around the outside of Patuka, gets the move done. Patuka's going to understeer slightly to a side pod. Looks like Leon's going to hold the position though. Patuka, yet not being able to fight too much on those 17 lap old hard tyres. Leon up into P3 on track, Viper 5 seconds behind. May catch in the next few laps, but running out of time to do so. But Leon now into a podium position, 20 seconds though off Kirby Texas. Those top 2 have been unstoppable today. Probably a bit of a boring race for them. Stingray hasn't really seen anyone for the entire race. It's getting past Viper at the start, and then Kirby Texas kind of just followed through, but hasn't had the pace for Stingray either. But those two are in a bit of a lonely race for now, for the entire race really, and probably for the next 3 laps as well. But they've definitely earned their first and second positions, have they? As Kirby Texas is actually going to pit. The pit time, I believe, is about 25 seconds. So Kirby Texas is actually going to drop behind Leone and Patuka. I wonder if he knows they've both got penalties though, because this is somewhat risky. I think he's going to come out behind Leon and Patuka. This looks like a Haas Wheels pit as well. He's got a massive gap behind, so he's going to be clear. But look at that, Kirby's now dropped to P4 and probably P5. So why on earth has Kirby done that? I'll check the penalties again. He might just be clear, but it's kind of a risk you don't need to take. Kirby has, actually he might have no penalties there. Viper has 1 penalty. Patuka has 1, 2, 3 penalties. Leon has 2 plus 5 seconds. So Leon's got 11 seconds. Patuka's got 9 seconds. And Viper's got 3. So Kirby Texas may end up taking P2 anyway, but he's got traffic, so if he's going for a fastest lap attempt, it's not really going to happen with the cars in front. It's going to be that much quicker. He's going to catch traffic on his lap. So interesting there from Kirby. I wonder if he was thinking he was close to a puncture, but I don't really know why you would bother risking it, because if you make a mistake now, hit a wall or crash into someone, that's an easy P2 going. He should get this move done now though. It should curving. Viper's going to defend it though. Kirby's going to around the outside. Viper's going to outbrake curving, but it's going to go a bit deep. Curving should get the switch back. Viper with damage. Stingray's pit as well. So Stingray should have enough gap to come back out ahead of Leon. Obviously just flexing, get the fastest laps I think. But Kirby Texas, I don't think he's going to get it because he's in traffic. but he should be able to get P2 back on track anyway for penalties. Stingray is ahead of Leon just. He's going to have best tyres, or it's going to be very close here. Yeah, Stingray ahead. So Stingray is probably going to pick up this fastest lap as well now. P1 with fresh tyres, curving Texas right in the back of Patuka here. As was that a bit of contact there? I'm not sure if that was just lag or if they actually had a bit of contact there, but curving Texas is going to get through now with DRS into overtake. He's got no real battery to play with. Patuka has battery to play with. So curving Texas may stay stuck behind him here. He's going to send it down the inside on Patuka, and he's going to get that move done. So the difference between those fresh softs and the old hards is just absolutely astronomical. They're curving now into P3, but he's probably going to lose his chance at the fastest lap. He's got no battery to play with either. So maybe he's going to save for the next lap, but Stingray clearly in the lead now, making the extra stop. He's probably going to pick up the fastest lap too. So Will and MBT coming out of the pits right next to each other. We won't bother flicking with that, I don't think, because there's a couple of cars up here close together. Actually, it's worth noting as well, Holloman down and Benarcate Pyro in a battle as well for P10. So this is for 1 point. So it's important. 1 point is a lot better than 0 points. Holloman down is going to go around down the inside. Banana doesn't make it easy. Takes the line through there that doesn't allow Holloman down to stick the nose in there. So chops him off a bit, but legal because Holloman down was not alongside. So Banana is allowed to take that apex as long as Holloman down is not alongside. So good defense there for Banana, but we'll jump back up the top here because coming on to the last lap we've got some yellow. That is for, I think it's F1 boy, no not F1 boy, sorry, Kurt boy. I'm not sure why I said F1 boy, my bad there. I think, no, it would have been Jamo. Jamo's probably gone round again and he may have some more damage, so it's been a headache of a race. He's got big damage, has Jamo. The Curvin Texas has picked up the fastest lap, but Stingray I would back to get it. Because Kevin was in traffic. Leon is going to defend the inside, will become the outside for the next corner. Bit of a squeeze there, but Kevin should have him on the brakes. Gets that move done. Leon has to concede. Kevin says now in P2. Although Leon's going to give him a bit of a tap, which is not going to be particularly enjoyed for Kevin. I think. He's going to... Oh, that's a brake check. And he's damaged Leon. I don't know about that one. Curving Texas broke far too much, and Leon kind of didn't break enough. So that's an interesting one there, but Leon's now got damage. He's got the gap to Patuka to stay ahead, but he's got that extra penalty. So I think if Leon stays more than 2 seconds ahead of Patuka, he should stay ahead of Patuka, but Viper is still probably on track to get the better pair of him. It's going to be really close actually, but we'll flick to Stingray now. As our leaderboard I think is mucking up a bit. There we go, Stingray around the final corner. He's had drove a faultless race. He's probably going to pick up the fastest lap here as well, just to flex it on everybody. Stingray around the final corner. It will be the fastest lap at 36.2. Kevin Texas in P2 with a bit of questionable stuff happening at the end there. But a solid P2 nonetheless. He will come home 5 seconds behind Stingray in the end. Leon has run out of fuel. He's going to cross the line with 5 seconds unserved. Patuka will jump. No, he won't. Patuka stays behind Leon. Viper does jump the pair of them by 2 seconds, just about. 1 and a bit there. So Viper gets on the podium. Shumatada P6, very solid. Ned has managed to get past Lunacy and stay there. Ned into P6 now on penalties as well. Lunacy around the final corner will stay at P8. Kurt Boy P9 had a bit of a quiet race. We might run on board here though because these two are close together. Holderman Dan and Banana Cake Pie, but I think Holderman Dan will be able to hang on to the position. Banana will just miss out on points, but with penalties, we'll have to wait and see. Kurt Boy has 5 seconds on serves, so that might possibly put him at risk to Holderman Dan and Banana. Looks like Holderman Dan will stay P10. Banana will take P9 on penalties, so Banana does get points, and that pushes Holderman Dan out of the points. So MBT and Jamo are going to round out the grid. We'll stay with Jamo. But a good race generally, a few boring patches in the middle there, as you naturally get with Singapore, with the track being so long and technical, the gaps do get pretty big, but these guys have done well to put on a pretty good show. Stingray with the dominant race, Curving Texas with a very comfortable P2, not quite having the pace of Stingray, but a lot stronger than the guys behind. Viper and Leon have actually done fairly well with themselves trying the two-stop. Patuka in P5, we saw pick up a tiny bit of damage, I think it was. He probably would have hoped for a podium, but lost out to Viper in the end on the penalties there. So congratulations to the podium there. Lunacy picks up driver of the day for making up the most positions. So well done to Lunacy, picking up some solid points after starting, I think it was P12 or possibly P11. I'm pretty sure it was 12 or 13 for Lunacy, but we'll have to check that on the screen. But it is the Mercedes of Stingray. Moonwalking onto the podium will take the 25 points plus the 1 for fastest lap. So 26 points maximum for Stingray there. That's going to help his championship an awful lot. Curving in P2, and Viper will take P3 on the penalties in the end. In terms of the championship, that is going to put Viper into the lead. I think, no, it's not. Stingray's going to jump from 4th to 1st in the championship, I think, with Patuka finishing P5. So it will be Stingray from curving from Viper from Patuka, from Lunacy for the top 5 in the championship after that race. I think that's how it will work out, but we will confirm it next week for the next race. So good race there for Stingray. That's all we need to do to secure that win plus the extra point. So well done from him there. Ned with the solid P6, Shumatata at Lunacy P8, Banana and Kurt Boy take the other points. Banana keeping it clean for the entire race, which is a good job. Hotman Dan P11, Will, MBT and Jammer got lapped there, and Candy Cane did not finish the race. So that's been the Singapore Grand Prix. Quite an eventful one in the end. A couple of controversial bits, some good racing, some nice battling, and some really class driving. So I really enjoyed that one actually. I believe next week we are at Japan, but I'll double check that. I'm pretty sure Japan comes after. Actually, you know, Russia might be before it. Yes, it is Russia. So Russia and then Japan are the next 2 races. If you want to check out those, then make sure you tune in. Same time, same place. Here I'll be commentating over those as well. Russia is going to be an interesting race. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. So it's going to be something interesting, then a challenging track of Japan afterwards. So the next 2 weeks looking like they're going to be quite interesting races. We'll have to see who can come on top of those. And if you'd like to see these guys' previous races, they're on the Race Spec YouTube channel as well. I was doing comms on all these guys so far, so make sure to check those out if you're interested. But we'll leave it there. Go suss out Race Spec if you want to get involved at all, or to suss any of the other races that happen. Global Elite tiers on the Sunday night. And then you've got plenty of regionals during the week as well, so lots and lots of stuff on Race Spec during the week, so make sure you check out all of those if you'd like. But we'll leave it there. Board Hod signing off. Really enjoyed that one, and I'll see all of you next week for Russia. Take care.